All right, here we go, everybody. Here's an LT1500, and here's the model number here. We're gonna do a basic service on this machine. We're gonna start by pulling the deck off, getting the clip to these rear hangers off. Can be kind of a bear. These rear hangers are kind of funky. You'll see here in a minute. There's a bar that comes down and goes through that flat bar into the deck hanger. They all got to line up to get back together. It's kind of a little bit tough, but once you do it a couple times, not too bad. This one is out. And we'll get the front hanger and that belt retainer off the engine pulley here. Have to hit this to get it out of there. Move that belt retainer out of the way and that belt comes right off. Same thing on this side. Get that clip off the rear hanger. And then that long bar comes out, slides inward off of that flat bar hanger out of the deck. And on both sides that bar goes through the bottom hole. The insulator sleeve slides into an angle on the deck. You got to pull that out first, and then you're gonna push that spring upwards and out of the pivot arm on the deck, and then that spring comes out. If you get your head in there, you can see exactly how it goes. It's pretty simple. Okay, now we're just gonna lift the deck adjuster up to get those hangers out of the way, and that deck should be free to come out of there. I try to get most of the grass off of these pulleys here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I try to get the majority of it. At the same time, we're checking pulleys, making sure nothing's frozen up. Nothing sounds weird. Okay, and I'm gonna push this mower outside so I don't have to smell the exhaust while it warms up. It's always important to warm up the mower before you do an oil change. Otherwise, it'll take all day to get the oil out of there. Thin oil comes out much faster than thick oil. And the mower will not run without you sitting on it unless you set the parking brake. If you set the parking brake, it will allow you to start and run the mower without you sitting on it. People are always curious about that. Customers are always like, "Whoa, how'd you start the mower without sitting on the seat?" And so I'm just gonna scrape out the majority of all of this built up grass, especially those buildups in the middle there. Those buildups in the middle will cause the grass not to flow out of the deck, and then it'll leave mohawks on your grass and everything. So definitely get those big chunks out of there. And if your deck is painted under there, try not to scrape off the paint. Scrape softly. It's easier said than done, I know. Wear your safety equipment at all times, safety glasses. At this time when I'm sharpening these blades, I'm catching rocks and pieces of steel all in my face. Those glasses are saving my eyes right now. You want to be wearing thicker gloves than I'm wearing, and you should probably have the blade in a vise. This is not the safest way to do it, but I do this every day, so I'm a little more comfortable than most. These stars in the middle are very important that they seat down all the way before you tighten that nut down. Otherwise, you will cause some expensive damage to those spindles. We're just going to check the bearings here, make sure that everything works. Those brakes pivot like they should, and they come into contact with the pulleys. They spring back and forth like they should. All the retainers look good. Bearings feel fine. Springs are all there. Everything looks good. And now we're gonna do the service. There is a plug down there at the bottom of the dipstick tube you can pull, and that'll let all of the oil drain out of there. But it's kind of a mess, so I like to suck it out the dipstick tube here. It's a cleaner way for me to do it. This is the best siphon tube that I could find. All the other siphons that I've had, they all break after a few uses. That one has lasted the longest. So I always make some sort of little cardboard tool here to keep the oil off the frame of the mower. It's just a cleaner way for me to do it. If you're not super comfortable, put a tarp under your mower so you don't get oil all over the place. I do this every day, so I'm a little bit more comfortable than most. And it is very easy to make a mess if you haven't done this before. Alright, so you definitely want to put lawnmower oil in your mower. 1030 or 30 weight. I think this one recommends 1030. It says it right on the top of the engine. And you always want to double, triple, and quadruple check your oil level. There's no bigger killer of lawnmowers than people running them out of oil. I see it all the time. It's always a sad story. So I'm going to get it to the full line here, and then I'm going to start the mower up for 10 seconds. Let that new oil filter fill up full of oil, and then I will recheck the oil level. So this air filter is kind of a rare one. I carry all the Briggs & Stratton air filters and some of the Kohlers. This air filter is unique. I don't have this one. So we're just gonna blow all the crap out of it, help this mower breathe a little bit better. We're gonna blow pretty softly just to make sure we don't damage this air filter, but we're gonna get the majority of the crap out. Get that pre-filter back on there and without tearing it. And here I'm going to start up the mower, and I want to hear it run without the filter on. I want to hear if it runs better without the filter. That'll tell me if it's having a major carburetor issue. If it runs terrible without this clogged air filter on it, that clogged air filter is forcing a choke, and so that'll tell me that it needs some carburetor work. And it does run a little rough, so I'm just forcing a choke here, trying to suck through some junk, but it runs okay. It's gonna mow for the guy, but he's probably looking at some carburetor work here in the future. I don't usually pull the hood off to put a spark plug in it, but for better footage, I'm gonna pull this hood off. And I don't think these headlight connectors have ever been off because this one here is such a monster. They're really stuck on there. I'm doing my best not to rip the wire out of the connector, and I did pretty good. So we're gonna pull the hood off, pull the wiring harness out, pull the hood off. Hood just slides right out. And we're gonna pull this spark plug out and take a look at it. I'm pretty sure it's the original. It's one of those cheap LG plugs. We're gonna get a good American-made Champion in it. Look at all the buildup on this guy. That is not helping it run. When there's that much buildup on these spark plugs, they'll misfire and just not good for it. So we got a brand new Champion plug in it. And this plug is part number is a RC12YC. And these spark plugs do not need much torque. You just barely get them seated. and that is good enough. And so getting this headlight harness back in, you want to go under that little frame rail, and then once everything is plugged in, you want to make sure that that harness is far away from the muffler. These are pretty prone to those wires melting on the muffler if they're too close. All right, we're going to slide the deck back in. Make sure your hangers are up when you slide it in. Get the hangers lined up pretty well before you drop those hangers down all the way. And so that flat bar needs to slide into its slot first before you push that rod through the flat bar and the deck. And if you remember, we're going through the bottom hole of that flat bar and through the deck there. Get the clip in. Now we'll get the belt on. And the retainer right there. Now we'll get the front hanger on. And so this cable is pretty short, the engagement cable, so it probably would have been better for me to get the cable on the mower first before I attached any of the hangers. It would have gave me a little bit more room, but luckily I was still able to reach it here. And this cable goes under the linkage and under the belt. You don't want to go on top, otherwise we'll burn up that belt on this one. Same thing here. This flat bar needs to go into its slot first, line up with the hole, and then you push that rod through both of them. And then get the clip on. Now we're going to engage it, make sure the key's off. PTO is engaged, and I'm just going to kind of grab the belt and look at everything. Make sure we're not missing any of the pulleys. Everything looks pretty good. Turn the PTO off, deck up. We're going to check the level on it. The level's kind of close. It's not super great. This side needs to go up a little bit. 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch or so. So this is the deck leveling device. And so you loosen up that middle bolt, and then you turn that leveler lug there, whatever you want to call it. And once you think you're where you need to be, you crank down that 1/2 inch bolt, recheck. It's 2 1/4. That looks pretty good. And 2 1/4. I'm just trying to maneuver the mower so I don't blow this grass all over this guy's garage. And I'm going to engage the mower and listen for any screeching or any vibrations. And it sounds pretty good. There's no shaking. Everything sounds fine. I think we're good to go here. And if it does squeal on you right away, then there's something wrong with the belt or you missed a retainer. And if the blades don't shut off when you turn off the PTO lever, either the belt is too small or it's just a cheap, rubbery, grippy belt. I try to always use OEM belts, but sometimes those cheap ones they're a little bit too small and they can continue to turn on you, which is kind of a safety issue. But yeah, this one looks good. Oil level looks great. Another happy customer. Like and subscribe. See you next time.